Magashule, of course, is maintaining he remains a supporter and a member of the party. But with this corruption crisis, can the ANC survive the association? President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa continues to promise to take steps to deal with corruption. But does Magashule pose a threat to that? Well, let's discuss this now with the MD at Reputation First Group. That's Tshepo Matseba. Dan Matseba, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time on eNCA this afternoon. When you see a suspended Secretary General of a party like the ANC in its 110th year of existence, and it's the governing party of the country, who's facing corruption charges, and he's insisting that he's done nothing wrong, you begin to wonder about the image, or what is this doing on the image or reputation of the party itself. Is this a good thing or a bad thing, what we're seeing playing itself out?
Yeah, so in a democracy, the dynamics of constructive conversation, constructive criticism are a positive for any organization. But what is happening in the context of the ANC is not really just about democracy. It's about deep-rooted factions and different members of the same party. The party that has made a promise actually to its members and to South Africans that it will work on programs to uplift the poor out of poverty, to look after every citizen in that context of South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. But the reality of this contradicting life or the images that we see of the ANC is that it's actually not positive for that organization or its members. It's having an adverse impact on that brand promise, because a brand, as we always say in reputation management and branding, is a promise fulfilled. And in the context of what's happening around the ANC, they are failing dismally to fulfill the promise, but they're also not helping each other by the fact that the organization that fought for democracy and dialogue in South Africa, the organization that the world over had been admired as a reconciler of different and completely different political and philosophical views, is now actually failing to have a dialogue and a conversation to save itself from ongoing embarrassing engagements that happen in public, but also happen within the closed doors of the ANC, and later on leaked either to the media or social media, as we've seen with the audio of the president of the ANC late last year.
Yeah, and earlier, just listening to Ace Magashule, Carl Niehaus, and Dakota Ligwete, who are all senior members of the ANC, and they have occupied different roles at different times, talking outside court, taking a swipe at the efforts by the Free State province of the provincial structure of the ANC in the Free State to build renewal and unity, with the former President Thabo Mbeki being on the ground. And you're wondering, but they are saying, stop criticizing us, stop criticizing the former President Jacob Zuma, but they also take a swipe at the people who are trying to get unity and renewal under the former President Thabo Mbeki. You can just see that the image is suffering even further damage at a stage where you hear words unity and renewal. Yes, it may actually be at least in the context of perceptions and in the context of brand and communication, it may signal the beginning of the end of the ANC brand as we know it. Because when you have senior members of the organizations, whether they are suspended or not, working against their own party, working against their own brand, filtering messages that oppose, you begin to have problems. But importantly, you also need to ask the questions whether there is coordination at the national level and provincial level, whether these people are talking to one another, in a sense that the African National Congress should actually be the one calling for renewal and coordinating things from the center, as opposed to having a former president. Albeit this may be a positive gesture and a positive move, but for him to go to one province and not speak from the center also signals that there are differences there in opinions, and that they are not speaking as a coordinated fashion. And in branding and communication, consistency and clarity of message is very important. At the moment, the messages are contradictory. They are really dirty. It is truly a silly season.
Yeah, you can say that again. Thank you very much for those brief insights there. Tshepo Matseba, MD at Reputation First Group.